Hello and welcome back to another edition of Index Office Hours. Today is the 23rd of January. I kind of went with that. I like it. It's a it's a very cool way to start the episode. Today is the 23rd of January and this is Index Office Hours 141. For those of you who are new to Index Office Hours, this is the town square where ecosystem participants come together and discuss the most important and relevant topics for the Indexer ecosystem. This is a call that is recorded and will be published onto public channels like YouTube. So if you're concerned about privacy, please bear that in mind. And as always, this is a conversation. We love participation. So if you would like to get involved, please do by typing in the text box in the corner, which many of you are already doing right now. Or if you would like to have join the conversation verbally, let me know. If you're having any issues unmuting your mic, I can get that sorted for you. But yeah, that's also another way that you can get involved. So with that, let's get into today's conversation. I'm going to give a shout out to GRT podcast episode 152 with Uri. Hopefully I'm pronouncing his name correctly. He's the co-founder of 𝗨𝘀𝗲𝗄, which many of you already know is the team behind Starknet, a layer 2 solution for Ethereum, tackling the scalability challenges. I don't need to say much about Starknet. It's or 𝗨𝘀𝗲𝗄 or Uri. It's a wonderful ecosystem. I'm very bullish on it, as you can tell from my tone of voice. This conversation was very very nice. It was a very interesting conversation. So as always, Juan, there he is, super speedy, with the links there. Go ahead and check it out. So yeah, thank you so much, guys. And now I will hand over to Anna for our regularly scheduled Repo Watch section.
Hello everyone. All right, so today on Repo Watch, we've had quite a few new updates, starting with execution layer client. We have a new version of Aragon. This is version 257.0. This scheduled 𝗨𝗀𝗃𝗀 for 𝗨𝘀𝗃𝗀 testnet. It includes some fixes on MDBDX, so implements hard dirty pages limit. It includes a fix for Bohr-Heimdal mining flow, plus a few other things. So for 𝗨𝘀𝗃𝗀𝗃 and 𝗨𝘀𝗃𝗀 users, you must upgrade to this release or later release before the 𝗨𝗀𝗃𝗀𝗃 hard fork. We are running this release on both Ethereum mainnet and Ethereum testnets without issues. Next, we have a new release on Firehose Ethereum. This release is version 2.2.2. So after the Cancun hard fork on Girly, the team at Firehose, the team has decided to change the product buff definition for the new block header, transactions, and transaction receipt field that are related to blob transactions. So these fields are optional, and you can see detailed release notes on the agenda. But what this means for users is that this is technically a breaking change for those that have consumed those fields already, but the impact should be minimal. So as an operator, you will need to either reprocess a small Girly range. So you do that by updating to new version to produce the newer version, and reprocess from block. Basically this block, I will just paste it. All right. Or another option is alternative to reprocessing is updating your blocks by having a streaming-fast API token and using the command fireEat tools download from Firehose, and the full command is in the agenda. On Nethermind, we have had 3 new releases. So The least recent one is 125.1. Please ignore that one because it contains a consensus issue. So use the next one up. So that's 125.2, which addresses that issue. And what you need to know here is that no resync is required. Just a consensus client restart is required. And then the most recent version on Nethermind is 125.3. This is a mandatory upgrade for all node operators for 𝗨𝗀𝗟𝗂𝗃𝗪 hard fork that's coming up on January 30th. 𝗨𝗀𝗟𝗂𝗃𝗪 hard fork coming up on January 31st, and 𝗨𝗀𝗟𝗃𝗪 hard fork coming up February 7th. Then we have a new release on Avalanche. And this introduces a lot of new metrics. Please check the agenda for all of them. It also adds a new consensus frontier poll frequency and removes a bunch of consensus accepted frontier gossip related CLI flags. And that's all we have for the execution layer client. For consensus layer client, we have a new release on Prism. This is a release candidate 0 for version 4.2.1. This includes fixes for 𝗏𝗟𝗃 fork. Then we also have a new release for Nimbus, so 24.1.1, which is a hotfix addressing the problem introducing 24.10, in which Nimbus was crashing immediately after being connected to the execution layer node if it was not fully synced. If you were using that release, you are advised to upgrade at your earliest convenience. Then on the graph stack, we have had a new release of indexer service and agent. This is version 0.21.2. This includes all of the details from the previous version, so 0.21.1, but it also fixes an issue that was affecting the bootstrap of indexer service, where indexer service would immediately crash without error messages after bootstrap. And then on subgraph radio, we have had a bunch of new alpha releases, but the most important one is 1.0.1 alpha 5, which adds a bunch of new metrics and fixes a memory leak. All right, just quickly going through what Payne mentioned. So both mainnet and testnet stacks are now on Arbitrum only. Testnet is now pointing at 𝗨𝗨𝗪. So this is for the stake squid stack. Mainnet will have I'm not sure what you mean by that one, but docs on telegrams and PagerDuty alerts are coming soon on stake squid stack. Thank you very much for the update, Payne. And I just wanted, before I hand over to Juan, just wanted to double check with you, Payne. I know you reported that on the indexer service, you are seeing you're unable to reallocate when you're trying to reallocate on a previously failed subgraph. Is that the only issue you've noticed with this newer version of indexer's agent and service?
Oh, well, can you guys hear me? Yeah, you can. I haven't tested it too much. This was my first time I was trying it in production, and yeah, you cannot allocate to subgraphs that either you don't have them in your database already as pre-synced, or if the subgraphs have failed. And I tagged Ford, and he's looking for a flag to either find it or implement it, because those to get around these issues, because those were implemented, I think, by Thiago a couple of months ago. And since we had a buggy 2023 release and also 21.1 or whatever that was, we first get to see them working only now. And yeah, I guess this is why the flags haven't been seen or mentioned. But yeah, shouldn't take long to be fixed, I guess.
Awesome, thank you very much. Sorry, Iray, you wanted to say something? Okay, handing over to Juan. Thank you, everyone.
Thanks, Anna.
Juan!
You guys me every time.
Love that.
Cool. So getting into Protocol Watch, we have a few things to cover. Starting from forum governance, we have a bunch of new updates to support for new chains. The first one is adding support for OPBNB, which I think it's an L2 OP stack L2 for Binance or BNB. It's just the first the start of a thread. So if you're interested in any of that and adding feedback to it, go ahead. Then we have some updates for the adding support for Sora network. They added a few more chains. They added a few subgraph examples to the Sora network thread. Then a small update to the support for BEMB Canary. They basically mentioned that they are waiting until they have a new mainnet launcher or something along those lines, and they want to collaborate after that event. For the scroll mainnet support, they added a few links in the original thread. Next, we have Graph Horizon Explained, a proposal for the evolution of the protocol. Probably many of you are used to hearing about the Graph Horizon, and I think we finally have kind of like a cool thread explaining all of the details about it. Of course, it's quite lengthy, so I'm not going to cover it here, but we do have the link to the thread in the agenda in case you're interested. It's a super cool thread that Pablo made up, so fortunately we have all of the cool little features explained, as well as why some of those features were implemented that way, I guess, or at least thought of them that way. And I hope many of you have some things to say about Horizon, and yeah, I hope we have great discussions in the thread. I think there was a little bit of a discussion regarding if I'm not mistaken, delegators potentially getting slashed in Horizon compared to what the Graph B1 was. So it's cool to see some discussions about some of the, I guess, controversial topics. Next up, getting into forum research. There's a thread about that Rem did like at least 1 or 2 weeks ago regarding why do we need curation. I think it's a cool thread that aims to spark discussion regarding curation itself. As many of us know, the original idea of curation unfortunately didn't really work as well as we expected in B1. So the um, discussion about curation is for sure interesting, and there has already been a little bit of a feedback and discussion going on in that thread, which I think is quite interesting. So if any of you are interested in curation and the idea of curation versus the actual implementation and what can we do to improve it, I think that's the right thread to go. Next up, we have contracts repository. There's a few PRs merged, mainly regarding updates to the contracts version in the contracts repository, as well as some pre-pack fixes and some other things like tests and stuff. Nothing major, but yeah, a lot of internal stuff. Then for the network subgraphs, after quite a while, we finally released the file data sources refactor, and as all things, it broke a bunch of stuff. Thankfully, the Graph Explorer itself was already taken into account for the rollout, so Graph Explorer is working at least so far flawlessly. But some third-party apps that were relying on IPFS data are, of course, going to be breaking due to the changes that the file data sources refactor required. There are some breaking changes in the kernel subgraph. I have a release note that kind of like explains the fixes. They're not super they're not super complex. It's just basically one level of indirection in each of the entities that are effective. Basically, the file data sources requires you to have isolated entities for the file handlers. So we can't update, for example, the subgraph image on the subgraph entity, because that's an entity that's not isolated. That's going to be changed and updated in different handlers. So we had to create metadata entities that are isolated, that are only used on those handlers, and that are immutable. So unfortunately, we had no way of doing it other way. So it's going to break anyone that was using IPFS fields that were from the IPFS files. But the fix should be quite easy, and as Vincent is mentioning, the indexer tools is updated already, and any tool that was affected should be quite easy to fix. Next time we'll try to give a little bit more of a heads up. I've been kind of like discussing it in IOH that we were going to release FDS, but I might have skipped maybe the change log, which of course could have been, in hindsight, could have been pretty useful. So I'll hope to make a better job next time for the upgrade procedure. And that's pretty much it for Protocol Watch. So I'm going to hand it over to Pac now.
Everyone, let me share my screen, but I'll also share the link. Oh well. Yeah. Let me know if you can hear me. Graph node, new release.
Yep, loud and clear.
Perfect. Yeah, go check the repo. Shipped a new release maybe like an hour ago. I think we kind of teased this last week, but there were some final things that we squeezed in there just to make it a little more action-packed and exciting. So let us know how it works for you. If you run into any issues, hopefully not, but please do let us know if you do, and just let us know what you think. And then some of the work that we are starting to prioritize again. The release is out. We've heard that kind of this block cache shard problem is kind of annoying, and I think it's going to just become more annoying as more indexers begin to shard their setups. And so we're going to investigate how to make this easier for you all, probably with Graphman, but it's still kind of TBD. Another thing that we're looking into is some slow substream subgraph syncing times. No real updates on that yet, other than we're looking into it. And then excited to have our team resume work on the declarative state and aggregations, so time series and bucketed aggregations. I think this is going to be a super cool feature for users, so really excited to see us making progress again on this. I don't really have much besides that, but go ahead.
Sorry to interrupt. Just a quick one. I'm not sure if you mentioned that. I think you did mention that you were going to screen share. If you did, we can't see it. Just flagging.
Oh, good to know.
Yeah, sorry.
Dang. Okay.
Yeah, link to the presentation came through, and the audio is fine. It's just screen share isn't coming through. There we go.
Perfect. Okay, cool.
Yeah, thanks.
You missed my meme, the ship at squirrel, but it's fine.
Nice.
We'll survive. So yeah, and I've linked all the issues and the release there. You can kind of read the in-depth release notes at this link. I'm not gonna here unless you pay me. And then yeah, I should get on Fiverr or something for this. I can do voice narration. Sometimes you need the SoCal accent. Okay, so other updates. I'm going to be working on Indexer Excellent workshop kind of topic survey that I'll hopefully get out by next week. But really want to hear what you all think are the most important things that we should kind of enhance our docs, or just kind of do some knowledge transfer from someone like David or Leo. So I will hopefully get that out very soon. And then finally, who else is going to ETH Denver? I think it'd be cool to do a meetup. So let me know. We can grab a beer or something. That'd be cool. But that's it. I can't ski. I'm from the city in LA, so nah. But we can kick it in the cabin maybe by the fire. I'm not trying to be cold either.
You're in the wrong place, my friend, if you're not trying to be cold. Colorado. In fairness,
I know,
Colorado's not actually. It is cold. I mean, coming from LA, it will be cold, but it's actually not that bad. I went there in 2022, and I had the worst expectations. I thought it was gonna be freezing, but actually, there's 300 days of sunshine. If anyone who doesn't know, in Colorado, and around that time, it does snow a little bit. It does get a bit icy, but in general, it's actually pretty nice. So, if anyone is going to eat Denver, I won't be, unfortunately. I have a lot of FOMO. But have fun. Have fun. I think it's gonna be a lot of fun. I had a lot of fun that time in 2022. It was a bit of a bull, and times were good. So, yeah, hope you guys enjoy. Alrighty. You do have one question, Packer, from Matthew, who asks, "Will you split the block cache for Firehose versus RPC?" I'm not sure what that was in relation to. So I must have missed it.
Here, I'm trying to find that.
It's a bit. You got to scroll up a little bit.
Okay,
It
cool,
was a
cool,
while
cool.
back. Yeah.
I don't have those specifics yet, just because we kind of, this is like a fresh off the press, kind of like today we're starting to look into it. So I need to chat with the engineer, but I'll get back to you on that. Who asked that? Oh, Matthew Pine. Okay, yeah, I'll get
That
back
was
to you, Matthew.
Yeah.
Perfect. Okay, I found it finally. Conor McGregor was just aggressively looking at me, and I was getting distracted.
Sorry, that was me. You said you needed to get paid, so I was like, "Hey, let's put in a nice meme for that."
Getting intimidated.
Conor,
Okay.
yeah, Conor McGregor is a bit aggressive. He's a bit of a crazy guy.
And then I see a comment from Chris about
yeah.
GraphQL API for Graphman. Okay, cool. That noted. I will talk to the team on like that, prioritizing that. But thank you for calling that out.
Thank you so much, Packer. And
Yeah.
happy to chat about what that could look like, or yeah, if I can be of help in motivating that at all, let me know.
Cool. No, good to hear. Thanks for that. And I think the rest is
Alrighty.
just people complaining about clothing. So I'm gonna hand it back to you, Abel.
This is true, but you've
Cool.
got one thing in here from 𝗨𝘀𝗲𝗂, I think is how you pronounce the name. Just highlighted that question there in case it's of interest. I guess I just read it actually. And it seems like Vincent's already responding. Okay, all right, we'll move on. Seems like Vincent is addressing that. Cool. Thank you so much, Packer, Juan, and Anna, for your respective sections. That was a lot of fun. Today, I am very excited to invite the Streaming Fast team. Let's see, we got Josh, and I think Stefan is also here. Let me just try to find. Oh, is that you in the pink? I think that is.
Am I pink? Yes, I'm pink.
Yeah. Okay. Great. Awesome. Okay. Well, I'll let you do your introduction, seeing as you're already on the mic. So, yeah, excited to get the show on the road.
Well, yeah. So we got this Avalanche thing now. Well, anyone excited about C chain support on substreams and Firehose and everything?
Yeah, it's very exciting. I'm just going to try and pull up the blog post so that folks can reference that. Yeah, let's give it a big round of applause.
Yeah, exactly. That's what I was missing.
Yeah.
That applause.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Great success.
There we go.
That
We need to give you
exactly.
a proper IOH warm welcome and celebrate the news. So there you go. Wonderful.
So what's special about this? Adding Avalanche, and we got Optimism in a while back, is that these chains are part of a. Which one is that?
Too late. That what is some reference? I forget. I recognize it, but I can't remember where it's from.
Like Superman or something.
Yeah. It's maybe like Back to the Future type thing. Maybe.
Oh yeah,
I
Back
don't know.
to the Future. Sorry guys.
Yeah,
Sorry
that's
guys.
it.
Oh yeah, I messed up. Yeah, of course. Oh no, I look like a non-nerd now.
Recognized it. That's a great one. I like that. All right, sorry. No distractions.
Yeah. Back to the present. Thank you, Nick. So yeah, what's special about these Avalanche and Optimism chains compared to other chains is that we're now starting to roll out like a light block Firehose approach, which is a polar based. Some of you might have heard the name of this initiative. We called it the Polar Sucker. That was the name ID from Alex here at Streaming Fast. The name stuck, unfortunately. So this Polar Sucker, how what does it mean? It's basically just that we're Firehose. The initial implementations are we need a instrumented node that replays all the blocks. What we get out of that is all the state changes and very, very deep instrumented, blocks with all the replay, all the traces of what happened, changes in the state, and all of that. So it allows you to, to prevent having to do a ton of RPC calls to get the state of the chain. If you know how the contracts work, you can just look at the state changes. So these are our base blocks usually for Firehose. The downside to that is that replay mechanism is pretty heavy. Some of you guys know that replaying the whole thing, you need snapshot at different point in time, and running all of this in parallel can take quite a lot of days and everything. And also there's a lot of work upfront to support all the variants of the code base for Optimism. Avalanche would be another. It's based on you're based on some Geth code base at some point, but you still have to work on the implementation so that you don't miss any field, any particular behavior. So what we've decided to go to a different approach. We're not getting rid of this approach because we still love the deep data out of that we get from the fully instrumented node, but we want to be able to support more chains and bring them in the realm of Firehose and substreams, because we're seeing also by having more chains directly support substreams, even if we don't have super instrumented blocks, it allows faster integration in graph node, so you can get subgraph based off substreams, even for eventually non-EVM chains. So that's what we're going towards with the polar based RPC integration of Firehose blocks. So we got now this Firehose core binary that can run all the components of Firehose without while being chain agnostic, and we have this polar component that can pull RPC blocks from pretty much any chain. So Avalanche is one of these, like we did for Optimism, and there are more coming. What's talking about 𝗨𝗀𝗀𝗃 here? Yay! Any question? Any comment on that?
Alrighty, yeah. Any questions? I see a few people typing. I've posted the blog post. 𝗨𝗀𝗃𝗀 has also posted the tweet, and you have a lot more context there from Steph. So yeah, we got a question here from Chris. Do you want to have a look at that? Is it okay if I call you Steph? Is that?
Yes, yes, that's good.
Yeah. Okay, cool.
Yes.
All right. You want to check out the question?
Yeah. So Chris asking if there's. Oh, so go ahead.
No, go ahead, Steph. Well, I guess I'll read the question because it is mine. I was just gonna ask.
You have that right.
Yeah, I do. Right? That seems fair. Will there be Polar Sucker support for Ethereum mainnet or other chains that already have full Firehose instrumentation?
Two parts to my answer. One, well, it's already supported since the last few releases. I think 2.1 added it, but then 2. Something it made it clearer. The current implementation of ETH Polar Sucker, sorry for the name again, it just sticks. Is the current implementation supports most ETH chains as is. It's you're getting the blocks, you're getting the logs event. There's no parity trace. Well, 𝗨𝗀𝗀𝗃 trace to make the block heavier. We are going to implement that at some point, but currently it's just basically to work with the log, the events.
Awesome.
So it already works with mainnet. There are a couple of problems that this brings that, what am I talking to? Am I talking to a Firehose that supports the full blocks or just partial blocks? Some subgraphs, some substreams, or some, other implementation with Firehose only, would be fine with just reading logs and then doing whatever with that. but some are heavily dependent on the actual traces. So then you want to make sure that you know who you're talking to, what kind of implementation of blocks you have. So this will lead to the need to have some kind of handshake or some kind of not authentication, but making sure you know what kind of block you're getting. The other aspect, so this is not defined yet. We haven't completely tweaked what we're going with this. We're trying to see where it goes, if people want the non-heavy instrumented mainnet blocks and everything. The other aspect to my answer is that pretty soon we've been working with the the Geth team to. There's a long-lived pull request. I think it's like 6 months old now, of extended tracers, and these tracers in Geth make it possible to have a very thin implementation of the firehose instrumentation in it. So once this is pulled in, once this PR is merged in upstream's Geth, we think it won't be too long, a couple of months, before it gets pulled into the other the Geth. I wouldn't say clone. I don't want to sound bad, but all the things that come from a fork of the Geth code base before it gets, yeah. So probably it will make the maintaining this implementation of a fire hose full instrumentation a lot easier. So yeah, that's where I see it. I see it going. So yes, you could just put the small the light mainnet blocks, but be careful. Don't put it in a subgraph, a substreams based subgraph or anything, and expect the traces to be here. You will be missing some data.
Yeah, that makes sense. Thanks, Steph. It sounds like what we might actually need is to incorporate that into the subgraph manifest, and generally declare different protocol versions between the full and partial blocks.
Yes, that is also how we're seeing it. We just haven't defined it yet because the problem hasn't arrived yet. But yeah, it will be something like that. Does it live in the substreams manifest, in the subgraph, in the I don't know. In terms of in subgraph, you don't need that much special care, because if you're using a event-based handler, well, it will work for anything. If you're using a call handler, that's where you have to be careful what kind of blocks you need. Then you need the fully instrumented, or if you have block handler with some kind of filtering on it. But there's a lot of subgraphs with just the event handlers, and they will work with both implementations. Yes, it should be done in the features when you the manifest. It will be derived from like I said, Derek. You don't need a special feature section of the subgraph manifest, because if you're not using call handlers or block handlers with filters, then you don't need to have the full instrumented blocks. So it's just a matter of defining your data sources in the graph node configuration, and also in the substreams itself. You will need this kind of a safeguard. So declare that you want the full blocks, or have a special implementation. If you know what to do when you don't have the traces, you could handle the case differently in your code. I hope it's making it clear for Derek here asking questions.
Feel free to unmute, Derek. If let me know if you're having challenges. But yeah, feel free to unmute. I can see you're on your phone, so maybe it might be difficult. But yeah, we got another question from Matthew as well here. In the meantime.
Yeah, I don't know about that. Traces is a parameter that should go to the RPC sources, not firehose. So yeah, there's no ready configuration that works currently. So yeah, it's probably ignored by firehose. It could be something we could leverage that, so we don't have to change a manifest, and Yeah. So but right now it's not a big problem until people start having different implementation of the same chains, and then we'll definitely have to do something. But for now, the only implementation for Arbitrum and Optimism are with just with the logs. Anything else?
I have a non-related question to whatever you guys discussed. I just need to report something to Leo. How does the graph node handle the substream cache? Remember when we talked about yesterday, like whenever I was restarting my graph node, the substreams will just start going ballistic for a while until it's rebuilding parts of the cache. Would that be an issue on the substreams cache side, or the graph node just asking for the wrong data? I'm just trying to figure out how to fix it, or like how to make it less of an issue. No, he's on Slack. I was asking Steph this question, basically, or Matthew.
I'm not certain how to answer that. I don't think I scoped the problem right. We could. I
Would
think
opening a GitHub issue help you?
Yes.
Would that be on the graph node side or the substream side?
Well, it depends. If you can reproduce the issue without graph node, put it on the substream side. And the best way, to have me look at it and quickly figure out what's going on is to give me a command to reproduce it as always. If you have a command to reproduce the issue, you're only using substreams. Don't scope out anything else and just help me get to the smallest,
cool.
smallest incidence of this problem. So. I haven't looked enough, and I haven't figured out. I haven't drawn any conclusion from the info that I've got yet. So,
all right.
Alrighty. Any other questions? We have quite a bit of time to talk to this subject, so yeah, free reign. If anyone has any more questions. I see Matthew typing.
well, I'm curious to see who's going to run it. Who's thinking about running the Arbitrum chain into Firehose and then exposing that? Anyone excited? Any takers? Oh, yeah, some hands rising.
That's a great GIF.
Wow.
That's so fitting. That works so well. Matthew also mentioned there was an earlier question about ClickHouse. Yeah, let's definitely get back to that, but I just want to create the space for Steph's question there for everyone, because I'm sure he'd love to hear the feedback from the community. So yeah, we've got a few takers. Currently running Arbitrum Firehose, still need to take a closer look now at how it's going though. Firehose for all EVM chains. And Mark's planning on running it. Great.
Yes.
That's awesome.
Yeah, I agree. Firehose for all the EVM chains. It really takes the burden out of the asking the node that's doing all this work to provide you with the basic block data over and over again. It's data that never changes. Just put it on some archive storage already, and that's basically what we're doing here with the these RPC Polar.
Sweet. I see a few people typing, so we'll let them finish.
Yes. Needed capacity to run? Yes. Well, basically, yeah, I can figure out the storage size of the Arbitrum chain. All right. I see interesting stuff. So, okay, ClickHouse. We have not run it into ClickHouse Cloud. So yeah, maybe I don't know if there's an issue in GitHub about this. Maybe some detail will help us reproduce the issue for substream SQL. Substream
yeah, I think
SQL.
Steph, there's some discussion in the Streaming Fast Discord on it right now.
Okay. Yeah. Matt is probably on that.
Yes, correct.
I think all right. So yeah, I haven't. We haven't gone to the bottom of it. I'll poke Matt later today to see if he got something.
Awesome. Love to see that. This is the point of this call. Moving fast. Chris has a question here. A short while ago, there was a tweet from Alex teasing that you may be able to write substreams in Go soon. Can you share any more about that?
Yes. Well, we should let Chris read his questions. We've seen he's sensitive about that. But it's all right.
I'm sorry.
You did a good
Chris.
job anyway.
Okay, good to hear.
But
I've taken. I want you to know I've taken note of this.
Okay.
He's keeping score.
Yeah.
All right. So substreams in Go. But we did some work on that. We explored the the WASI specification, trying to run any WASM by redefining by using the standardized input output of WASI. We got to some interesting results, but the main takeaway from basically 1.5 months of work on that, I think, was that the performance was abysmal. So we have been putting this a bit on ice for now until we get either a lot of traction. People actually saying, hey, I need this. I want to pay for that. I want that. That's going to solve my issue. It's gonna make me jump on the network, which we haven't seen. That level of commitment to that feature. And or until we see a big difference, a solution to the performance issues. But we're not ready to take a 50x performance hit by using another language than the Rust to compile the WASM code. So yeah, that's a pretty that's sad news, but that's what we're seeing with implementing different languages. We're actually looking at TypeScript first to try to get a lot more developers interested by coding in TypeScript. Go was just like a side effect. Like, well, if you can do it in TypeScript with WASI, why not Go? Why not anything else? But the performance hit is currently way too hard. So we're postponing work on that for now.
Awesome. I appreciate the extra context there. Pascal.
Some Basic or Bash. Why not?
That would be hilarious.
Unbelievably based.
All right.
Vincent has posted a question. Chris has responded to it, but yeah, maybe might be worth having a look at it as well, Steph, in case you have any thing you want to add.
Well, no, I don't think I have interesting stuff to say about the cleanup blocks thing.
Okay, yep, cool. Let's move on. Let's see. Any other questions? Okay, they seem to be more. There seems to be more chat on the comment there from Vincent. Any other questions as it relates to the stuff that we're speaking about here? This is great. By the way, I just want to highlight. Yeah, I mean, I'm learning a lot just by listening to you, Steph, and I hope this is useful for you as well to get the feedback from the index community. It sounds like there's decent uptake from this group on trying this out, which is great. So yeah, this is it's quite gratifying to see this happen in the IOH space. This is why we do this. So it's great to see this activity.
Yes, that's why I'm here.
Amazing. Hopefully not the last time. Hopefully there's more exciting stuff to talk about and more opportunities to get you on here again. Cool. Let's keep going. We've got another let's say 10 minutes or so for more questions. So fire away, folks. I see a few people typing, so we'll see if there are any questions. Okay, I'm not going to make the same mistake again. So, Chris, feel free to read your question.
Yeah, Steph, there was work being done to allow subgraphs to index data emitted by substreams. Do you know the stats for that?
Yes.
Yeah.
Well,
Do you,
yeah, isn't it live? I thought it was released. I've been helping Felipe from EdgeNode like debug stuff on this. He's saying like the UX is not perfect because when something is slow, it's hard to figure out what's going on. But it's it's released in 0.34.
Indeed. Thank you. Yeah, I feel like
Play
that's a
with
pretty
it.
big deal. And there's also like a direct firehose integration for indexing subgraphs, right? Like, have you guys done any testing on whether like GraphNode leveraging a light block or partial block backed firehose
Yeah.
has a significant performance benefit over RPC for getting logs?
Well, there's it's the answer to that is tricky. There is a lot of things behind that question. Okay, I would like to say yes, it's always faster, but if you have a very a subgraph that index just a few events on the whole chain, you will probably be faster with the RPC implementation to reprocess the whole thing. Okay. Because of how the search for the logs works, they get events on a large kilo blocks. However, in Firehose, with the Firehose Ethereum blocks, there is this thing called the block indexer that creates some it's a some bitmapped files that basically an index for the appearance of for the presence of a specific contract in the list of events. So this can make Firehose skip entire ranges of thousands of blocks and just give you the blocks that are that you want. However, whenever you have a subgraph that actually wants to read pretty much all the blocks of the chain, like something very heavy, well, then Firehose usually turns out faster in most cases. That's talking about Firehose as a replacement to the RPC. Now, when we talk about substreams, then there's a good news and a bad news. The good news is that substreams can prepare the content in parallel with the parallel workers. It can just like read all the blocks in chunks in parallel, prepare the output. Maybe there's some stores in there that just stacks layers of data and then run another thread in parallel on top of that, and you can really get the blocks, well, the output faster. And then these outputs can go into the subgraph, and then you're good to go. However, if you're using substreams just to map blocks and events and send them to the graph node, to the where we'll handle the events in the subgraph handler for a very sparse subgraph, then you're not leveraged the indexes that you had in Firehose. So it can actually be slower in these cases. We are thinking of trying to get the benefits of the firehose indexes inside of substreams, but it's currently not the case. I might be getting a bit technical on that, but the short answer is there are cases for each of them where any of the solutions will be faster than the other ones.
Makes sense, and appreciate the nuanced response there.
No problem. I always give nuanced responses.
I love that. This is what we want from IOH. Yeah, because I mean, in giving a nuanced response, that either gives people, first of all, gives people all the additional context required, and then also may lead to more questions, and also anyone else who has any questions, it kind of answers their question. It's great. So we love that. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Yeah, there you go. See, you got some more affirmation from Matthew and also from Chris saying, I love all the details and feed the nerds. So yeah, it looks like at this rate, you're probably due for another one of these. You're a great guest.
Thank you.
Yeah, this is
You're a
great.
great host.
Oh, you're too kind. You're too kind. Thank you. Alrighty, we're coming into the final 5 minutes, so I guess we'll do a final. Vince, oh, I love that. Yeah, I'm never gonna live that down. Yes, I do. I hope I don't sound like a blanket today. I know I sometimes do, but I hope today I'm sounding good. I have my professional mic today. Okay, no blankie today. Great, great. Yeah, great, great. Cough, cough. Oh yes, yes, Mike. How could I forget? Let's do a quick POAP shout out. Let me just grab the link. If it was something to do with uncensorable web, if I'm not mistaken, let me just get the precise word. 1 second. La la la. Here we are. Uncensorable web. And we are in the time window. So the time window is 6:45 UTC. Oh, there we go. Hilly's already on it. Fantastic. So yeah, go ahead and get your POAPs. And no need to do a puzzle to get the POAP. So there you go. Great, great beam there. Great gift. POAP secured. Great. Good stuff. Glad to hear. Okay, Steph typed a few things here. Oh, great. Okay, is that additional context, Steph, for folks?
Yeah, I was just summarizing my explanation of the different options with the different, relative speed to feed a graph node. Like I said, RPC will be good for very sparse data because of the in node indexing of log events. With Firehose, you'll get very good speed for dense data, like heavy subgraphs that are fed from Firehose blocks. It's also fine for sparse data because of the indexes, and such things. It will be very good for dense data because of the pre-processing you can do in there in layers with the parallel steps. And it can be bad-ish for sparse data in some situation. It depends all. Some with sparse data will be okay too, but it really depends on the how sparse and what you have to do in the substreams. We are looking towards some kind of indexing feature implemented in substreams. It's just about juggling priorities and what will bring more adoption. But there would be ways to have to use a substreams module as some kind of filter provider, so that substreams can use the results of this module to know how what ranges to skip in another substream that would depend on this module. So you could use a module as an index, but this feature is still in the design phase, and we're waiting to see what it could bring in terms of adoption and excitement, and to try to close the gap. I was also typing more stuff. The substreams allow you to. I haven't pressed enter yet. Substreams allows you to get any kind of block in the graph node without a specific implementation. So Ethereum blocks, they just work directly, no problem, because of the specific implementation. But then you get Solana blocks, you get other chains, you get Bitcoin, you get other chains, and then you just need a RPC polar in Firehose, and then you can start using substreams to send any data inside of GraphNode and write your handlers in there. So you don't need to have work for a new chain with its own data model. You don't need to write the full GraphNode implementation for that chain. You can just go through substreams, and then you use the protobuf model that you get out of that, and then work on it in in your subgraph code. So you're really using substreams for all the things at that point will really add some, cool way to add new chains on that. Thanks, Chris. Thanks, Matthew. We appreciate it.
Hey, there you go. You're getting a lot of love in the chat. This is fantastic. Yeah, I totally agree. I'm very bullish streaming fast, and very bullish you, Steph, for all of your time and explaining everything in great detail. It's greatly appreciated. I guess we're coming into the final couple of minutes, so we'll do, I guess, final call for questions, stuff like this. Yeah, this is great. Any final questions, thoughts? Oh, there you go. You pressed entered. Nice. Alrighty. Well, there you have it, ladies and gentlemen. Oh, we got Matthew. Sorry, I didn't mean to cut it off too quickly. If you have any questions, feel free.
Hey guys, what's going on?
Dang it! It's Mike again with the the sound effects. They're always so perfectly timed. I'll give you that, Mike. It's very impressive. Nice Among Us sound effect. Okay, cool. Well, there you go. I will take this opportunity to say a massive thank you to you, Steph. I think I speak on behalf of everyone who's here right now in saying that was incredible. We really appreciate all the detail and the passion and excitement for which you kind of explained all the things that you did. I learned a lot. I hope that others did too. And I'm pretty sure that when Streaming Fast launches new things, I think it'd be great to have you on again, because I feel like you do a great job. Damn it, Payne! Stop! That is too realistic. It makes it feel like somebody's actually knocking at the door. So yeah, thank you so much, Steph, and also for everyone who joined today. This was an amazing episode, and I thoroughly enjoyed it. Wonderful. Those AirPods are too good. Very immersive. Thanks everyone. Take care. We'll see you again next week. Bye bye.